Last year, I locked my character to the city of Limsa and really pushed the limits of what could be done. A maxed out class, thousands of gil spent on the market board, and a collection of people pitying me for the simple joys of earning 16 gil per fish. I had reached the end of what I could reasonably do within Limsa without ever stepping outside of the city bounds. But what about other cities? Limsa is the only one with something like ocean fishing, so there wouldn't be much point, right? Well, sure, if we continue to restrict ourselves to cities. But what if we expanded outwards just a tiny bit? Thanalan, 6 total zones and 1 city with a range of monsters from level 1 to 50 filling the fields. And the only area in the game with 2 unlockable dungeons that don't require progressing the MSQ. And so, creating the soon-to-be Queen of the Desert Ul'dah, our long journey begins. Compared to Limsa, we can't do everything in the city, because there's nothing to really do in Ul'dah for generating things. We'll be able to do the quests, and then that's pretty much it. So, for Ul'dah, we're expanding to the entirety of the Thanalan region, which goes all the way up to northern Thanalan and otherwise. When I go to Thanalan and I remove whatever specific map I'm looking at, so long as it's in that area, that is a free zone for us to go to. We've got a laundry list of goals, but I'll keep it short and sweet. Clearing both available dungeons, the Sunken Temple of Qarn and Cutter's Cry. Halatali requires MSQ progression, so those two are the only options. The first time I clear them, we'll have to be outside of the regular queuing in and finding a random party in Duty Finder. I either need to clear it on my own or find some other way. Miner, Goldsmith, Alchemist, and Weaver all need to be level 50, and we have to complete their A Realm Reborn questlines. No Queen of the Desert can claim her throne without a home to live in, so we'll need to have 500,000 gil so Ul'dah can presumably one day purchase an apartment. And the worst of the lot, we need to unlock every available class and job in Thanalan. Gladiator, Pugilist, Thaumaturge, the Crafters and Gatherers, Red Mage, Samurai, and Reaper. And if you don't already know why that's so terrible, well, you'll see soon enough. Before we get started, do you see this number right here? 50,000 by the end of the year. And you can help if you're one of the 60% or so that aren't subscribed. We start things off as a humble thaumaturge because my stream chat forced me to. The first thing on our list is unlocking the other classes, which requires hitting level 10 on our starting class and completing the corresponding quest. The main scenario quest was very limited, being stuck to only Thanalan, but it would get us some good progress toward the level we need. While running around on some tasks from Emoti, we grab up every quest in the city that they'll let us take. With so few ways to get money and equipment, we need to make sure we get every reward possible, at least for now. 30 minutes later, all the low-level side quests are done, and we take a stock of our winnings. 10 potions, 10 dark matter, a lavender. I don't know what the heck I'm gonna do with a lavender. And to top it all off, 959 gil. Some meager starting funds to get us settled. It's also a good chance to mention that we'll be proving the character's purity with the exploration achievements. If I even so much as sneeze my way through the gate to the shroud, it'll appear in this achievement section and be the end of the account. Anything that isn't under Thanalan is a restart. And so, with the level 4 main scenario quest, we take our first step out into the world. Western Thanalan, the starting point for any miner, and the place I'll be spending the majority of our time on this account for some reasons we'll get into later. This zone gets us access to copper, muddy water, zinc, and cinnabar, integral materials for our crafting classes, low-level fates, and fire and water shards, the main items for Alchemist and Goldsmith. We may not need to collect shards depending on how the class quests treat us, but it's nice to have a backup accessible at any point of progression. Stopping for a moment to grab a new outfit from the Mail Moogle, we check out a few obscure and generally useless merchants. I missed a fish merchant in Limsa, and I'm not going to let myself do that again. Aside from this little guy selling aged items, desynthables used to get the A Realm Reborn relic weapons, most folks just sell the regular armor or weapons, so nothing too useful. The second zone on our journey, Central Thanalan, is home to one of our 2 dungeons, Cutter's Cry, and a low-level food merchant if we ever get hungry. And while we're here, we grab the Aetheryte in our 3rd zone, Northern Thanalan, home to high-level monsters and a lot of unusable mining materials. With the level 1 Thaumaturge quest complete, we've unlocked the Hunting Log, a set of marked enemies that'll give us a big boost of experience for killing a few of them. Level 5 quest done, some wild snapping shrews kindly donate the experience points we need to hit level 10, and we're 1 quest away from unlocking all of our classes. With an eventful visit to a big tree, hello handsome stranger once again, love to see the handsome boy. Thanalan Waters, as they call him in Ul'dah. You know, if our Rogadan were to marry that handsome stranger, she would become Ul'dah Waters. She would be Ul'dah Waters because she would keep her family. Yeah, Ul apostrophe Da. That's her full name. all apostrophe da, you get down here right now and you clean your room. The challenge so far is to marry Thancred at the moment, Gabriel. That's what we're sticking with so far. We're on the last of our MSQ for now. Prudence at this junction, which requires us to get an eye level 5 helmet. But progressing the MSQ isn't all that important at the moment, so we take the chance to run off and get back on track. Some people in the community refer to this as RP walking. I, on the other hand, like to call it the Sprout murder, because the Sprout will accidentally hit it once, and then they're stuck like this for the next 12 hours figuring out what button it was. I'm not talking from experience. I would never do that. Why is there a bean sprout coming out of your head? So the bean sprout is actually called Ul. That's the main objective of this game, is you get a bean sprout on start, and then you have to protect the bean sprout for as long as you can. These are some players that, for example, have completed the game. They no longer have the bean sprout because the bean sprout has gone on, it's finished its growth, and it has gone on to become the gods of the land. We've amassed a small fortune of 1500 gil, but teleporting to our next class quest would cost 200, so we're condemned to walking there until I hit a stroke of genius. In my A Realm Reborn speedrun, I was forced into using chocobo porters, a cheap early game option that allows you to use a mount no matter where you're at in the story. Renting a chocobo allows you to have full control, while selecting a porter forces you along a set route. 80 gil, never mind. I'm just gonna maybe just hire a porter. Yeah, 5 gil, much more reasonable. This is the wrong direction. I needed to go to Blackbrush. I'm not gonna waste the 5 gil. We gotta take the chocobo porter for a little bit here. So the bean sprouts, actually, you name your bean sprout when you create your character. So there's 2 slots for the names whenever you're making it, right? The first slot, it says for name, and for name means that it's for your bean sprout. And then surname is for you because you're the servant of the bean sprout. Level 10 quest complete, we can finally start making some progress towards one of our goals, unlocking every class and job available in Thanalan. There are 10 total classes we can unlock without ever leaving our desert home. We started as a thaumaturge, and now that they're available, we grab gladiator, serendipity, hold on, I need to read this, best guildmaster, hello, goldsmith, miner, weaver, and alchemist. There are only 4 classes left to get. One of them I forgot to grab, so we'll just pretend like it's not here. Aside from pugilist, the remaining 3 jobs are the biggest grinds in the entire challenge. Red mage and samurai can only be unlocked by having a combat class at level 50, and then reaper. The end goal of this entire run requiring a combat class at level 70. The highest level dungeon we have access to is level 38. Going off of the experience it gave, this was going to be tens of hours of running through Cutter's Cry. And to make things even worse, Gladiator, Thaumaturge, and Pugilist would normally have an upgrade available at level 30, turning them into Paladin, Black Mage, and Monk respectively. But we can't actually do that because it requires completion of the level 20 main scenario quest Sylph Management, which is over in the Black Shroud, not to mention everything we have to do to get there. So we're stuck on a base class at the very minimum until level 50, where we can start using Red Mage or Samurai. In 5th grade, I had to do a science project for my teacher, and my teacher gave us an option. You could either do a science project and present it in class, or you could do a science project and you can have it in the science fair, and you could give her like a brief write-up on what the project was. And so, of course, I said I was going to do the science fair, and I gave her a write-up on what the project was, and then I didn't do the science fair. And when I tell you that I got away with it and she gave me 100 on the write-up that I did, oh my god, I felt so slick. I was like a thief in the night, getting away with the crazy strats. Heading back for Pugilist, we buy a fancy new hat and turn in that quest from earlier that I forgot the name of, and the first day of our challenge comes to an end. After a quick fun little surgery that knocked me out for 2 weeks, Ulda awakens once again. And I lost the proper recording, so you have to deal with the stream pod. It's not my fault, okay? I was still loopy from the medication. What do you want from me? Now that we have our new classes, it's time to swap over to Gladiator, since of the 2 of them, Thaumaturge has no chance of clearing a dungeon on its own with our restrictions, and Gladiator at least kind of does. A few hunting logs later, we're caught up to the MSQ and continue on with our quest. Beating up a big pile of rocks, we unlock one of the 2 pillars holding this challenge together. The inn room. No, that inn room is for me. You don't get to go in there. Leave quests. Limited missions that you can take on for combat, crafting or gathering classes. Leaves are our bread and butter for progression, but first we need a quick trip to Horizon to unlock them for real this time, which means we'll have to wait before talking about them because I'm very easily distracted and ran around turning in quests for the day. And then the stream just ends with me beating up some cactuars. I don't know what happened, man, but that's cool. Now we can talk about leave quests. Classes have their own specific leave quests to do, and each quest costs 1 allowance. You can have up to 100 allowances stored, and you gain 3 of them every 12 hours. Crafters have to turn in an item, and if the item is high quality, the experience and gil rewards are doubled. So this is going to be our main moneymaker for the first half of this run, and our leveling method for all of our crafters. Gathering and combat classes also have leaves for experience, but being completely honest, the battlecraft leaves are absolutely horrible, so we'll try to avoid them as much as possible. Each leave has a card, and there's one that stands out above all the others. That's for later though. For now, the plan is to do some goldsmith leaves and run off to Western Thanalan. While we're out and about, we grab some copper ore, 1 level per copper ore, for copper ingots, and muddy water for later. I was planning to make some copper wristlets for a leave turn-in, but we've almost hit level 10, and the first quest only needs a copper ingot, so we're on to bigger and better things. Our first piece of crafting gear, and hundreds of shards richer, we're at the Goldsmith Guild, so it's time for an important stop. Each crafting guild has a supply shop, an easy and cheap way for us to get materials that we'd have to pay a heavy premium for off the market board. 3 leather runs us 24 gil, and 3 high-quality copper gorgets complete the level 5 quest. Normally, 24 gil is a lot of money to spend on just 3 crafts, but since we're doing it for a quest, the rewards will offset our costs, so I can happily get as many materials as I need. Earlier, at the Mail Moogle, we picked up the Friendship Circlet, an item that increases experience gains until I hit level 25. With that in mind, replacing my headpiece isn't really an option for now, so we grab some legs instead. Next up is the level 10 quest, requiring 12 copper rings. The easiest quest yet, since all that'll take is some more mining. But I'm once again distracted by a shiny new option. Hunting for our first leaf completion, the card I'm looking for still isn't there, but there's an easy quest for Fang Earrings, the direct cause of the Great Bat Massacre of 2023. Bat fangs, zinc for brass ingots, and hard leather from the goldsmith supplier make some Fang Earrings for 2 leaf turn-ins to get us from level 13 to 18. The first spoils from our leaves, we've made just over 1200 gil for killing a few bats. Back on track, we grab some more copper ore, craft up all of our rings, and turn in the level 10 goldsmith quest. For level 15, a Fang Earring and a brass gorget are easy to make, but there's a quest looming on the horizon that completely killed my last account, Limsa. After this, the level 20 quest would require us to turn in an item that has a materia melded to it. Unlike Limsa, we've got access to Thanalan, and with a crafter at level 19, we head over to Mutamix to unlock materia extraction and melting. Every time we take an action while wearing gear, we'll gain Spirit Bond. Once a piece of gear reaches 100% Spirit Bond, we can extract a random materia from it depending on its level. We don't care what materia it is, I just need a materia. Extraction unlocked, we're ready for whenever a white dot appears, and get back to working on our Fang Earring and brass gorget. Mining the zinc for the gorget, I'm stuck with the stupidly low gathering chances because of our lack of mining gear, so we distract ourselves once again and start the miner questline. 10 copper ore for level 1, bone chips from Central Thanalan for level 5, and obsidian for level 10. Accidentally taking a hat I can't use. I shouldn't have got the hat, I can't wear the hat, I need the Friendship Circlet. So we've got a mostly better gathering set and end the day happy. New day, new me, we're finishing up the main scenario questline. 20 minutes and a quick run-in with some dude in a robe, our gladiator is level 20, and we've reached the end of the road. The Uldan Envoy requires you to take an airship to the 2 other major cities, Limsa and Gridania. Even though they won't give an achievement, they're still off limits since it leaves the map zone of Thanalan. And unfortunately, this also means that we can never visit the Gold Saucer since it's locked behind this quest. No gambling for us.
Aw, dang it.
Loose ends finally tied up, we spend a bit of time leveling my miner by filling the gathering log, grab some cinnabar for the level 15 quest, pick up a new chest piece, and take our first step into Eastern Thanalan, a metaphorical and literal gold mine. The most useful items we can get here are gemstones for goldsmithing, since the gold ore requires level 50 and we can't get much out of it. And that's it. That's the only reason for us to be here. Just some gemstones in a wall. 20 minutes to hit level 21, we head back and grab the next quest. The first quest to drag us out of Thanalan for some rocks, we can't complete this one without buying things off the market board, so we're back to goldsmithing. While I was preparing my crafts, chat noticed something a bit problematic. Yeah, grade 1 carbonized matter, it's market prohibited. Market prohibited, meaning we can't complete this mining quest, and that part of the challenge is ruined. Or is it? It only specifies market prohibited. Most items that can't be traded between players will also include unsellable in the description, which means in theory I can't buy them off the market board, but I might just be able to buy them off a random player. It felt like it would be cheating to ask my stream chat to go and get it for me, so I make a plan to go shopping later and get back to goldsmithing. No, not air quotes random people. I want actual random people. I'm gonna go to Balmung at some point off stream. I'm gonna spam in Yell chat that I'm purchasing grade 1 carpetized materia, and then it will be perfect. Brass Gorget made, the level 15 quest is finished, and we got some fancy new shoes. Now, like I mentioned before, the level 20 quest needs a staghorn staff with a materia melded to it. We were decently close, but nothing at full spirit bond yet, so we'd have to wait for a while to complete this one, which means it's leave time. And would you believe it, we got the very first leave quest with the card I've been looking for. This little old grandma card is the marker for the best leaves in the entire game. Initially, they may look like they're much worse than all the other options, with almost half of the rewards, but that's how they trick you. Any grandma leaf quest can be turned in 3 times for a single allowance, and with high quality items doubling the experience and guild rewards, we're getting 6 times the amount shown. They're a bit expensive, but we grab a marble die and dragstones from the goldsmith supplier, make some ragstone whetstones, and a copper scepter for a high quality decorated copper scepter. The first of 3 turn-ins gets us 51,000 experience and 350 gil. 2 more times, we've gone from level 22 to 25 in a single leave quest. We've done a lot of work on the crafting and gathering side of things, but have ignored my gladiator since the MSQ ended. Feeling up to the task, we run around hunting some logs to get us a bit closer to the first dungeon. To unlock and attempt the Sunken Temple of Qarn, we'll have to hit level 35, so every last bit of experience will help. Finishing up some hunts, chat drags me back to Ul'dah for a moment to show me some of their darkest secrets. Is that the forbidden magic? Is Nosferatu in my Weaver skill? Hello, Ruben. It's good to see you. Challenge run never using teleportation when? That what? What? That. What? Okay, hold on, wait, I gotta try that. Yet. This is perfect. Hello! Indeed, forbidden magics, yeah. So we've become Ul'dah. With a new difficulty rank of hunts unlocked, we've hit a bit of a wall. There are only 4 total monsters on this list that can be killed in Thanalan, meaning that the easy experience had all but dried up. We were level 25 now. 10 levels needed to come from leaves, fates, side quests, or killing enemies. With that path narrowing, we finish up the day with another goldsmith leave for silver magnifiers. We had gotten silver ore from one of the earlier leave quests, and I wanted to turn it into as much experience as I could. Silver ore is way too expensive at 200 gil each to do this consistently, but with a clear glass lens from the supplier and some mudstones purchased in the goblet, we can at least do it once. The goblet has a lot of weird and unique shops that can only be found in other housing districts, but the mudstones from this material vendor is about as useful as it's going to get for us. And after actually looking at the recipes, it ended up being better to do silver rings, even though they weren't the grandma quest. 2 turn-ins get us to level 31 and unlock our best usable material in Thanalan. No, we cannot. Mithril. Yes! Yes, that's huge. I can do Mithril, because Mithril is mineable in Thanalan. That's going to be the best one. Even with our Mithril unlocked, we're not at the level to get leaves for it yet, but that's nothing a few malachite bracelets can't fix. 3 bracelets later, 1 leave allowance used, we go from level 31 to 36. Crafting class ready for our best items, my miner is dragging behind a bit, so of course, like any reasonable person, I head into our next and final zone, Southern Thanalan, and spend the next 30 minutes gathering bomb ash until I'm a high enough level. Like Central Thanalan, there's not really a lot here aside from the Mithril ore and our lowest level dungeon, the Sunken Temple of Qarn. Mining through the night, we've hit level 30 and grabbed some Mithril ore and Heliodor for later. After 2 hours of non-stop gathering, we finally get a piece of armor that's ready for materia extraction, so the level 20 goldsmith quest is within reach. And to top it all off, the Mithril we'd been collecting was a chance to upgrade our crafting gear with some new rings and armor. Both the staghorn staff and the Mithril items needed materials off the market board, so it's time to see what we're dealing with. So I need antelope horns, I need... wow. The antelope mount is cheaper than buying 2 antelope horns off of the market board. Are you crazy? To make my mithril rings, I need siltstone whetstone. It doesn't have a shop selling price, and I can't gather it because that's over in Lenosha. So I have to purchase this. Oh Oh my god, dude. 100k for some siltstone, baby. What about normal siltstone? Oh, that's not bad. It took a lot of deliberation, but eventually we spent 850 gil for 2 siltstone whetstones, grabbed some clear glass lenses, and make mithril ingots for mithril spectacles, to make mithril magnifiers, and 2 mithril rings of crafting. Those crafts were a bit of an eye-opener. Without the quest completions to slowly feed us new armor, we were really starting to fall behind. Weaver is our source of new equipment, or at least our cheapest source. Moko grass from the guild supplier makes hempen yarn to complete the level 1 quest, more hempen yarn for hempen cloth for half gloves, add some leather and a little bit of copper, and you've got yourself a hempen doublet vest of crafting and work gloves for my mine. The next upgrades would need a higher level, so we grab cotton balls from the guild supplier and the next quest from Redolent Rose. 3 hempen breeches later, the level 5 quest is done, giving us some nice new shoes. Oh, this looks sick. Now we just have to get her some actual pants. These things are terrible. We turn the cotton balls from earlier into yarn, cloth, and scarves for leaf turn-ins. We're still a bit far from the gear we need, so the level 10 quest goes down next. Another scarf and some slops for the level 15 quest. Weaver hits level 21, and it's time for a break. Leveling has been going well, but money-wise, we're in a bit of a bad spot. I'm almost capped on leave allowances, and I need to make sure I'm doing them as often as possible so I don't waste any. Hunting for a good leave, we stumble into the quest of my dreams. Bad to the bone, a single item turn-in that, when delivered at high quality, can give us upwards of 1,000 gil, almost double the other leaves at the same level. And all I needed to do was make sunstone brass circlets. The brass is easy, copper ore and zinc from western Thanalan. To use up all my allowances, we'd need to make 97 circlets, which is just about 300 brass ingots, or 600 copper ore and 300 zinc ore. If I use all 97 of those allowances on this sunstone turn-in, and I make all 97 of those sunstone circlets high quality, we will have over 100,000 gil. That's absolutely insane to me. Another day spent in the mines and quick synthing 300 brass ingots, we buy the raw sunstones from a guild supplier, turn them all into sunstones, and make an in-game macro to craft our brass circlets at high quality every time. 30 minutes later, an entire inventory page is filled with brass circlets, and it's time to turn in our leaf quests. Choose with Q-tones. What? Oh. Oh, no. It's all the way in Camp Drybone. I have to run back and forth to Camp Drybone 50 times. That's gonna take me like 2 hours. Are you crazy? Our North Star ruined by the fact that we had to run to Drybone. The teleport to Drybone on its own would cost 280 gil and another 280 to teleport back to Ul'dah, meaning we'd only be getting half of what the reward actually was. But this was still the best leave available, and I hadn't given up just yet. I just needed some time to think on it. Sitting in a Discord call with my dear friend Luda, I went over all the different options we had for getting back and forth. The Chocobo Porter was a slightly less expensive option at 30 gil for a one-way ticket, but it came with a much bigger problem. 3 minutes! A 6-minute round trip for 100 leave turn-ins was 10 hours of riding chocobos. Not an option. Timing the run over to Drybone on foot, we could get there and turn in the quest in 3.5 minutes. Still not great, but we could set the Aetheryte in Drybone or Ul'dah as the free Aetheryte and only have to go one way. Just about 5 hours of running or chocobo porters was starting to sound a lot more reasonable. I set Drybone as the free Aetheryte, since we can use return once every 10 minutes to get back to Ul'dah. Setting Ul'dah as a favored teleport halves the cost, so we've gotten it down to 140 gil, a little over 10% of our profit, which is a much more reasonable price to pay to teleport back and forth 100 times. But then, before I subjected myself to paying for teleports, Luda had a genius idea. I didn't have to teleport back to Ul'dah, since it's set as my return destination. I could get back there for free. I just had to die to do it. Reviving would bring me straight back to Ul'dah. No teleport costs incurred, and I could use gear that I didn't care about, so repair costs would never be a problem. The death run was just about a minute round trip, making it the best free option by far. Thankfully, I didn't have to do this just yet, since I could grab a bunch of Aetheryte tickets from the Mail Moogle, allowing me to teleport back for free. But once I ran out of tickets, this was the strat we were using. Testing done, we took a chunk out of the circlets I had to turn in over the next 20 minutes and headed on to bigger and brighter things. It took just about 45 minutes to turn in all of the circlets I had on the next day, but I had bigger plans than just leaves. Today, I was going to the one place I could get what I needed, the only spot with people just crazy enough to take me up on my offer. We were headed to Balmo, off-stream, incognito, to try and get the grade 1 carbonized matter for our mining quest. I will pay a very nice 7,351 gil. The people of Balmung were very welcoming, if maybe a bit unhelpful. I'm a methane egg? What the heck is a methane egg? What? This isn't a rock. Okay, you know what? Fine. It's a rock if you believe. Hello, yellow chat. Would you maybe like to earn 7,000 gil? This is an amazing deal you can't get anywhere else. Please, I'm desperate. Maybe I should change up my tactics. Can I eat the cool rocks? No. You have to give them to me. You can't eat them. Do you think if I went to one of these nightclubs, somebody there would get me the rocks? Am I that desperate? Am I gonna start going to nightclubs? These aren't the business savvy folks that I'm looking for. The business savvy folks have got to be further in, you know? Maybe they're over in the quicksands. Oh my good God, there are so many people in here. I loved the egg. It just, wasn't 15 grade 1 carbonized matter. Hold on, I think I actually got someone. Hello, friend. So I kinda need someone to go mine it. I can't believe I actually found someone to get the rocks. This is the greatest day of my life. This absolute hero. And they're an Ellison. I'm telling you, the Ellison is the correct choice, alright? I look forward to your return. Yes! I can't believe it's working! Somebody actually went to get me the rocks! If they actually go and get me these rocks, and they're tradable, I'm gonna be so happy. And I guess I probably should have checked before I begged for people to go do it for me, but now the question is, are they tradable? I'm on the edge of my seat right now. If it's not actually tradable, I'm going to... that's the end. After I went through all of this, come on, it has to work. Hello. Yes. Oh my God, it's tradable. You are the best. What an absolute legend. What a hero. Look at that. 15 out of 15 grade 1 carbonized matter. I can't believe it. It actually worked. Yes. And it didn't cost me a single cent, baby. That's the businesswoman old Don needed to be. Deliver fragments of grade 1 carbonized matter. Level 20 mining quest completed. Yeah, I mined these myself, I swear. I definitely did that. A new pickaxe and gloves and 57,000 gil from leaves. We rest after a job well done. Now, I've been putting it off for a while because I've really been dreading it, but we have to at least start working on Gladiator. Quests are the easy part. None of them are outside of Thanalan, and by the time we're finished, we hit level 26. One whole level. I also took the chance to introduce chat to the death strat. From level 26, we try our hand at fates, leaves, and hunt logs. We can now glamour. The Saltine Shield returns. Testing out the terrible experience from Battlecraft leaves, we slowly make our way towards level 30. An entire day spent on fates boiled down to about 20 seconds, and we still have 5 more levels to go. The next morning, I'm out of Sunstone Circlets, so restocking is at the top of my priority list. 40-ish is enough to run our weekly leave quest turn-ins. With our first 100,000 gil made, we're 1/5 of the way to our future apartment. The last of our circlets turned in, 113,000 gil to our name. It's back into the mines for our Gladiator grind. The final Gladiator class quest finished, we get the last free upgrade for our gear, and spend the next few hours jumping between leave quests, fates. This is amazing. This is gonna be so much XP, and side quests before discovering the best path forward. Oh, but lady, I have been tested and found most wanting. So easily was I blinded, trusted, and enfeebled. I must rise above these base impulses if I am to amount to anything. What the heck? Concentrating Carl! Hey there, everybody. It's me, Concentrating Carl. I'm sorry. Wait, no. So let's just take this back for a second. I just kind of realized what you're doing. You're bathing in the water source for this entire village. You're bathing in the only water source in the desert. Everybody here is going to get food poisoning and die. Where else do they bathe? I mean, they could do it downstream. Do it at the spot where the water is leaving. The enemies in the Sigoli Desert were at our level, so if we killed them fast enough, we'd get bonus experience for maintaining a chain. Fates were far away from each other and were slow to complete, so in the end, running around this rock and killing zombies was the best way to go from level 33 to 34. At this point, from all the leave turn-ins, our goldsmith was level 59, so we unlocked the Sunken Temple of Qarn just one level away from being allowed to enter it. The next day starts with restocking on brass ingots for our circlets. We lock out at the market board and grab ourselves some cheap antelope horns for the staghorn staff, meld in a materia, and finally finish the level 20 goldsmith quest, 39 levels late. Level 25 quest is just a high quality silver ingot, so we've knocked out 2 of them at once. Completing our obligatory leave turn-ins, we've hit 162,000 gil and head back over to the mountains in the Sigoli Desert. With our current gear, we can get a chain of up to 4 enemies, giving us a total experience multiplier of 346% on the last kill. The experience averages out to 840 per enemy, meaning I'd only be stuck here for around 114 kills. This is the final fallen wizard, and now my grind is finished. It was good to see you, fallen wizards and fire sprites. But we're free! Sunken Temple of Qarn is now accessible. The first of our dungeons was finally accessible, and like I had said earlier, I'd need to go in without queuing into duty roulette for my first clear. Now it's time to see what we can pull off. First, we enter on our own level synced. Our gear is extremely weak for this dungeon. We're the lowest possible level to enter it, and I had no way of healing, but it was a good chance to scout things out and see what we'd be up against. A lot of the enemies and mechanics of this dungeon can be ignored, like how I can just walk past these first few bats. The deeper in we go, the more enemies we're forced into, and each group is most likely going to lead to an immediate death, so it's time for my favorite strategy. Run. We get a brief glimpse at the first boss, Pterodactyr, died to some skeletons on the way back, and we're forced to resort to my secret technique. The Hist strat. Originally developed by Hist for my solo Final Fantasy XIV challenge, if you run into the boss room, start the fight, die, and respawn fast enough, 15 seconds after the fight starts, you'll get a very brief option to teleport straight to the boss room and avoid all the enemies along the way. With no way for us to heal aside from potions we got during our quests, Pterodactyr kills us pretty quickly, and our first attempt at clearing Qarn is finished. We were at a dead end, mostly for our gear, but also because we needed some way to survive a long fight. And one of those problems could be solved right here in the dungeon. Turning off level sync, we jump in with Epic Echo, hoping for a big enough buff to make soloing doable. It wasn't much, just an extra 400 health, but it was at least better than nothing. There were 2 ways for us to upgrade our gear within the Sunken Temple: killing the first boss for armor, and this little guy right here, the Qarn Facer. If I could kill the Qarn Facer, it'll leave behind a bronze chest that drops a selection of different weapons from the dungeon. A massive upgrade that should make the boss fight a lot more realistic. But it's not that simple. The Qarn Facer will disappear after you start combat with it, so I'd only have 1 try or I'd be forced to restart the whole dungeon. We'll talk more about them later though. Pterodactyr with Epic Echo was going better than before, but I still wasn't even close to victory. So we leave the Sunken Temple of Qarn dejected and with a new goal of leveling my alchemist. Any gear upgrades off the market board were way too expensive and didn't end up improving our defense all that much. Definitely not worth it. Potions, on the other hand, were pretty cheap if we bought the low quality ones. High quality was too much for our wallet. With 1600 HP, the most efficient potion we can use in the Temple of Qarn were high potions, with the most health recovered and lowest cooldown for our level. But there's no way I'm spending 40,000 gil on potions when I can just craft them myself. Distilled water for the first quest gets us to level 4, copper ink gets us to level 7, an antidote I had in my pocket clears the level 5 quest, and Tanoka mistletoe with some chanterelles from the guild supplier makes us our first potions. The supplier also has beehives for beeswax to complete the level 10 quest. Level 15 needs a potion of intelligence and dexterity. Landtrap leaves from the supplier, bat fangs from, bats, and rock salt in central Thanalan completes our last quest for the day and gets us to level 18. We now have access to the first set of status potions and slightly out of reach high potions. Though my plans begin to crumble as we realize both materials for high potions, matron's mistletoe and gill buns, aren't sold in a shop. We have to buy them off the market board. Rather than dwell on it, we leave that problem for another day and hop back into Qarn with our high-quality potions. They're weak, sure, but it's healing. Tyranitar was very susceptible to being run around the room, so in theory we could stall for our potions to come off cooldown as many times as we needed to clear the fight. But without sprint, he'd occasionally catch up and kill us with his tank buster, Triclip. Another attempt, this wasn't something that potions were going to solve. We needed to upgrade our gear. So we end the day to give me some time to think up a new plan. Our daily sacrifice to the Leave Quest gods, we're sitting pretty at 196,000 gil and do a bit of shopping. The materials to make high potions are, as expected, way too expensive to make them worth it for now. Instead, why not just go straight back in and try our luck with the Qarn Facer again? Sadly, making absolutely zero changes does in fact not make it any easier to kill the thing, so it's time for a new angle. Heliodor accessories, a mithril based set that we could make right here in Thanalan. And rocks are pretty cheap, so we're well on our way. Mithril ingot and Heliodor make a Heliodor choker, rings, and bracelet. Though I may have been getting ahead of myself a bit making these accessories. I needed to hit level 38 to use the choker and bracelet, and 39 for the rings. Back to shopping on the market board, we land ourselves a crazy deal on some heavy steel flanchards. What? A steal? Are you joking? Yes, I will take that. 500 gil? No question. And consider that enough to try the Qarn Facer again. And just to push us over the line that much more, we use Poisoning Potions, an item from A Realm Reborn that causes a brief poison on whatever you're targeting. It doesn't do a lot of damage, but it does enough to get us there with a bit of luck. The Qarn Facer slips out of our grasp until things end in a fevered pitch. Don't! No way, dude! 0.2%? Are you kidding me? Come on! These attempts were using level sync, and I had been flinging myself at this Facer without knowing if it would actually give a chest. I had just been told that by chat. For my sanity, we jump back in with Epic Echo to make sure this was all worth it. Just prove to me you drop a chest. It does. Okay. Alright. It's worth it then. Really? At this point, I was just being stubborn. I wanted to get this thing on level sync. I had to do it. But I was pretty frustrated with the 0.2% run from earlier, and it was not, in fact, gaming time, it was bedtime. Then I took a me day. No stream, no chat, just me and some copper ore. To reach the apartment goal, I needed to complete around 300 more guild leaves. Rather than take the time and collect the items for it every stream, I was going to grab all of them right here and now so I could craft circlets as needed. 1800 copper ore and 900 zinc, I was going to be here for long enough that I wanted to be sure I was doing things efficiently. There are 4 gathering nodes for the resources in A Realm Reborn. After you use up 3 of them, the first one you collected from will respawn. A full cycle of collecting from all 4 nodes takes 1 minute and 8 seconds, giving an average of 30 ore per node. To get all the copper I needed, I'd have to do 60 cycles or an hour and 8 minutes of mining. But not all nodes are created equal. Some nodes have location effects based on your perception stat. Specifically, this node here gives an extra copper every time you gather from it. So I timed it again, and if I cut out the 4th node and just do 3 of them, I finish the run in 48 seconds. This only gets us an average of 100 ore per run rather than 120, but we're saving 20 seconds. Saving 30% of the time and only losing 17% of the ore per run, this was worth it. Just about 45 minutes later, we've got all the copper we need and the zinc shortly after. My hubris gets the better of me as I absolutely don't have enough wind shards to craft 900 brass ingots, and a quick stop in central Thanalan remedies this little problem of mine. 450 wind shards later, we were still 300 off our final goal, but it would be enough for now. The brass ingots are finished, and my day off comes to an end. Waking up to crafting 100 sunstones is, well, I mean, isn't it obvious? It's the best. The best an old An can hope for. Better than any cup of coffee. Nothing could replace that morning joy. A sunstone. I have broken all of my equipment. Circlets. I made a lot of them. What else do you want me to say? How many different ways could I possibly say that I made these circlets? You know I have to make them to do the leaves. Just let me have this. This script is driving me insane. 54 turn-ins later, we've got 247,000 gil, and our goldsmith has hit level 67. Finally, we're at the halfway point. Only 250 more leaves to go. Freed from our obligatory death simulator, we meld some materia into our gear, shop around for a food buff. I feel very suspicious taking a 1 gil bacon bread. you know, I do really want to take it. We're just gonna, real quick, grab a grass viper and jellyfish Nuna off the market board and make some quicksilver for our weak poisoning potion. Making my own poisoning potions instead of using the ones from quests gives us high quality, which might do more damage. I'm honestly not sure. But of course, no plan of mine can be fulfilled without its share of problems. Targets. Oh no, I made level 21 weakening poisons. Oh, that sucks. Okay. I made the weak poisoning potions, the first recipe for them, but they can only be used on things at or below level 20. The Qarn Facer is level 35. Doing the math real quick, that's not how that works. Broken, defeated, I purchased some high quality poisoning potions off the market board and head in to face off against the face. Need to be able to stay on top of it. This is, come on. I killed it! What do you mean it died? It's come on! No way, dude. Robbed of our victory, we still needed more. 270,000 gil and goldsmith level 68. Up to now, I was doing attempts at level 35, the lowest I could be to enter the dungeon. The max level you can be is 37 before being synced down. Now, just a quick intro to leveling in 14, since a lot of people don't know it, you don't get stronger by being a higher level. The only thing that changes is the abilities you have access to and your health. If anything, you get weaker as you level up past expansion caps, like 50 or 60, requiring more stats from your gear to get the same effective bonus. But that's the other side of it. If we leveled up a bit, our gear options would expand. At level 38, we have new accessories to use that give us that little boost. An hour of killing zombies later, we've hit level 36. Without the chain bonus, it was going to take a while to get anywhere higher than this, so we shelved this plan for now. For as stubborn as I had been, today needed to be it. I didn't just need to get the weapon, I needed to clear the temple, so I can start using it to level up. The available armor upgrades are still way too expensive, but there's a better food item on sale for a decent price. Grilled sweetfish increases our direct hit and critical hit. Hopefully, the extra damage would guarantee the Facer dies before it starts running away. 2 more attempts with our new buff, the Facer was starting to be more inconsistent than anything else. Sometimes we wouldn't get anywhere close to the 25 seconds before it disappeared, and it would run off with 14% health left. Last time around, I used up all the poisoning potions we had, so there was one more thing I could change with our setup. And this time, I was going to make the potions myself. I needed to level Alchemist anyway. Denolko Mistletoe and Imp Wings for Ethers. Using the Ethers for Leaf Quests gets us from level 21 to 27. Potions of Intelligence for more leaves gets us to level 32, and Poisoning Potions are unlocked. Formic acid comes from ants and quicksilver from cinnabar, so the only thing we can't get in Thanalan are the Morble vines. Luckily enough, I had gotten a decent stock of them for cheap, and we get our first batch of high quality. Come on, 6%, did I get the normal quality? It'll be fine. Go up to level 35, it better be level 35. If that Qarn Facer is level 36, I'm gonna be so upset. That's it, yeah, that's good. Come on. No, 0.2? It died and it didn't give me the... No! Once again cheated out of my prize. After 4 days of attempts, we have finally gotten a kill. Let's go, dude. Look at that treasure coffer. Let's go. My treasure coffer. Now, the only thing that matters from this chest is the Paladin's Flame-Tongue arms. Everything else is useless. Thankfully, there aren't that many items in the chest, so our fancy new weapon upgrades only take 3 chests to get. This was basically as good as our gear was getting. Leveling past this to use higher level equipment wasn't an option, so I grabbed some cheap high potions off the market board. High potions in hand, this was it. It's finally time to clear our first dungeon. Even Epic Echo on and with this new gear, this is still a really rough fight. I have to run for a while. We're on to the wasps. He has a new cast. New casts are always huge. It gives us some more time to heal. Or not. Nah, dude. Oh my god. That is insane amounts of damage. This had solidified it. I wasn't going to be able to clear the first dungeon on my own. While we were wandering the city thinking of the next steps, we grabbed the next dungeon's quest, Dishonor Before Death, and spent some golden chocobo feathers for aetheryte tickets to speed up my leave quest turn-ins. We had spent about an hour deciding what to do, and finally got to a plan. To keep with the original theme of not queuing in for my first clear, I'd hire some mercenary gladiators from chat to clear the dungeon with me. 20,000 gil per person, and a full team of 4 gladiators, each using gear around my level. This time, we're actually getting our clear. For the first time, out of the dozens of attempts to kill the Facer, we make it all the way to the first boss without any deaths. Tyranitar is especially easy with more people. He'll hit with Triclip, a tank buster dealing 500 damage, summon 2 bees that, if you don't kill them in time, use Final Sting to one-shot their target, and for his final mechanic, he applies Doom to the entire party. If you don't cleanse the Doom by stepping on a glowing platform, it will kill you as soon as the timer runs out. Mortal Ray is the cast that applies Doom, and if you're fast enough, you can stun him before he finishes casting and avoid it altogether. With their first foe defeated, the gladiators rush on, further than any Ul'dah had gone before. The big head statues need to be killed on glowing platforms to open certain doorways and continue through the dungeon, but these 2 heads can be completely ignored as they only open bonus content rooms. A few sets of enemies later, we reach the second boss, the Temple Guardian. 2 targets, the Golem Soulstone and the Guardian itself. While the Soulstone is alive, the Guardian takes heavily reduced damage. On killing the Soulstone, the Guardian is stunned for a few seconds and becomes vulnerable to your attacks. After getting back up, the Guardian will start targeting random players for its mechanics before the Soulstone breaks again and the boss falls.
Yeah, look at that, level up!
What would have taken me 2 hours of grinding in Southern Thanalan completed in 12 minutes. The experience given from the Sunken Temple was ridiculous compared to everything we had tried before. At the very end of the dungeon, Scales of Judgment allow us to enter the final boss room. If you complete the bonus content from earlier and place the Flame of Magic on the left pan and the Fruit of Knowledge on the right, the door opens and you get a treasure room. If you don't get them, you have to fight 3 more enemies before entering the boss's arena. Now we stand before the final boss, Adjudicator. Right before the end, we equip all of the items we had found in the dungeon earlier, almost an entirely new set of gear from a single run. The Adjudicator is a strange but easy boss. Starting the fight by summoning one of the head statues, it won't die unless you kill it on top of a glowing platform. Once that's done, you start spawning staves around the arena, some that deal unavoidable damage to the entire party if they aren't killed in time, and others that shoot laser beams. But it's nowhere close to as difficult as the Tyranitar from earlier, and goes down without much trouble. Hey, look at that, another level up. This is incredible. The first dungeon and the first goal from our checklist completed. With all our mercenaries paid, we're down to 217,000 gil, and finally free from the Sunken Temple. At the beginning, I mentioned the Reaper unlock requiring us to have a class at level 70. Grinding that off of dungeons would likely take dozens of hours, especially since our best one was only level 38. But I had a trick up my sleeve. Now that we're level 38, we can fully unlock and enter Cutter's Cry, the last dungeon on our list. For those that can't do math, that's 2 dungeons unlocked, which means we meet the requirement for the leveling duty roulette. Duty roulettes are a daily activity that you queue in for with a party of random players. You'll be given a random dungeon that fits your level, and you're sent off to the races to clear it. Once per day, it gives a scaling experience bonus. This is the only reason we can get to level 70 and unlock Reaper in a realistic amount of time. No matter how high level we get, once per day, we'd get a huge boost of experience. But I still had my rule that I had to clear Cutter's Cry without the duty finder before we could use it, and this time I knew we'd be able to get it done. Winding down after the biggest day of progress yet, it finally feels like we're getting somewhere. Lost recordings be damned, a new day begins. Circlets get us back to 248,000 gil, and we start the day off by doing some Battlecraft leaves and fate farming until level 40. At level 40, we head over to Camp Blue Frog in Northern Thanalan, the highest level zone in our borders. I wanted to run some tests and see if the leaves here would be a good enough leveling method, and for the time being, it was. Before I committed too much time to leveling though, we jump into Cutter's Cry with Epic Echo to see what we were up against. And I'll just give you the Spark Notes version real quick. No, or at least not without potions. Restocking on high potions from the market board, we hop back in for a real attempt. A death to some bats and ants along the way, we reach the first boss, the Myrmidon Princess. She doesn't do very much damage, relying on summoning soldiers to overwhelm you, but all of them move slow enough that we can kill them from range while running around the arena. At low health, she summons the Myrmidon Marshal, which tethers to the princess, slowly healing her. But all in all, this fight was easy, and with our shiny new Qarn gear, the first boss boss is beatable. We can get some small upgrades from this chest, but the second boss kills us without question, so we head out to level up some more. Level 41 from Leave quests, we take a break from combat and work on one of our crafting classes, Weaver. The level 20 quest required a cotton actin with a materia melded to it, so we grab some cotton balls and dodo feathers to make cotton yarn and cotton cloth for the materia actin. Finishing the quest gets us to level 24 and our break time is over. While killing enemies at the burning wall on Gladiator, we take the chance to pause and check the playtime of this character. Just over 45 hours to get to where we are, and the end was closing in. With that, we reach level 42 and end the night. From level 42, the leveling really started to slow down again. It would take 17 leaves to hit 43, and I needed to get all the way to 50 for my plan to clear Cutter's Cry. This wasn't going to work, and I still couldn't use leveling roulettes, but we still had one option. I had already cleared the Sunken Temple of Qarn, so I'm free to queue into it as many times as I want. The first clear had gotten us 2 levels, so there's no doubt in my mind that running through the Sunken Temple with random players would be much faster than leveling with leaves. And I was right. Each clear of the Sunken Temple gets us 254,000 experience, more than an entire level. We were leveling up every clear, and in just 7 runs, we've hit level 50. Now we can clear Cutter's Cry and enter the end game of this challenge. There are 3 jobs we haven't unlocked yet. 2 of them, Red Mage and Samurai, only require a level 50 combat class. These jobs come with a full set of level 50 gear, exponentially stronger than my Gladiator's equipment. And with armor and weapons 12 levels above the dungeon, Cutter's Cry was about to meet its match. Our first level 50 job, Red Mage, is unlocked. Geared and ready to go, it's time to finish the first phase of this challenge. Nothing could touch us anymore. The second boss, which was previously killing us with a damage over time, goes down in just over a minute, and we've reached the final boss, the Chimera. The Chimera is really just a short dance of going out for the Ram's voice and in for Dragon's voice. Other than that, there's nothing scary about this fight, and just as quickly as it started, Cutter's Cry was cleared, and we can now use the leveling roulette. After 50 hours, we've reached the final steps. From here, it's a straight line to the end. We made Ulda on a preferred world, so she started off with 10 silver chocobo feathers. Spending these feathers at the Calamity Salvager, we get our Gladiator geared up with level 50 armor and weapons, and hop in for our first leveling roulette. Sent back into Cutter's Cry, we tank the floor for a bit, and enjoy the spoils of Ulda's first roulette. Let's go, dude, I never get all the combinations. But for as amazing as the experience was, leveling roulette wasn't just for leveling. There was something else it would get us. The next day, I tested some roulettes with Luda. Partying with a mentor gives Sprouts an experience bonus, and it let us test how a party queue would work. I had wanted to level up on my Red Mage since it's not good etiquette to enter dungeons above level 30 as a Gladiator. I should be a Paladin by now. Though I wanted to be a good noodle, there was one important thing that I couldn't go without. Daily roulettes have a mechanic called Adventurer in Need. A specific role, tank, healer, or DPS will be listed next to it, depending on what class the queue needs the most. And the Adventurer in Need bonus gives gil, scaling with your level. As a level 51 Gladiator, I'd be getting over 7,000 gil for a single dungeon run, not to mention an extra 5,000 gil if it was someone's first time clearing the dungeon. With this, I could cross 2 goals off my list at once. Leveling roulettes would get us to 70, unlock Reaper, and make the 500,000 gil we'd need for an apartment. So it's locked in. I'd be logging in every day and running a leveling roulette on Gladiator until it was finished. The next stream was a very important day. We were saying goodbye to Ulda. I'd have to spend around a month doing a dungeon a day, so this was the last time Stream Chat would see her. But before that, we still had a massive goal to complete. I'd be finishing the quests up to level 50 for our miner and all of our crafters. A marathon of a stream to finish another goal. First up is Miner, the only gatherer we have. Starting from last quest, we're at a level now where the game expects us to be traveling the world, so most items will have to come from the market board. 15 effervescent water completes the level 25 quest and gets us better pants. Wyvern obsidian is gatherable in Thanalan and completes the level 30 quest. Raw amethyst off the market board for level 35, a new shirt, and raw jade for the level 40 quest. A good time to check in on our account's progress. Goldsmith is level 69, Weaver is 23, Alchemist is 32, and Miner is 42. By the end of the day, all of these had to be at level 50. We've run out of mining quests for the time being, and at level 42 there aren't leave quests available in Northern Thanalan, so we just mined grenade ash for a while. Around a minute later, I remembered that other zones exist besides Northern Thanalan, and we start using the leaves in Camp Drybow. 106,000 experience per leave. 3 quests later, we've hit level 45. 20 electrum ore off the market board. This is a lot more than 20. There's just 1 quest left. Cobalt ore in Northern Thanalan takes us from level 47 to 50, and the last quest is dark steel ore. One of, if not the most expensive material in A Realm Reborn. No, you can't just have stacks of 99, dude. I'm not looking forward to this. We didn't have that much money to burn, so I hopped around to different worlds for a bit and found a stack of 5 ore for 1,500 gil each. An absolute rip-off, but still somehow the cheapest I could find. And with that, the quest is completed, our relic gear is obtained, and the first class goal is finished. Doesn't that helmet have a torch? Does it? It does. Little light bulb. I'm actually super happy about that one. We've got some real nice proper stuff. We've got the relic gear. Level 50 mining is complete. Check that off the list. Congratulations. Mining is finished. We did it. Next up is Goldsmith. We're already well over leveled, so it's a straight shot through all the quests. Silver ore for silver ingots and malachite for earrings. Level 30 quest complete. Fire ox for an eye of fire makes a firebrand for level 35. A leave quest in Northern Thanalan drops a wolf fang, and a wolf fang turns into a horn staff for level 40. With the level 45 quest, we've got a lot to turn in. Electrum ingots, amber for an amber circlet, vinyl, matcha to boost our crafting stats, and zircon for 2 more circlets. An hour and a half after starting, we're at the last quest, a black pearl ring. Dark steel ore is expensive from the massive stacks of them that have to be bought, but black pearls are one of the most expensive singular items. At least people sell them in stacks of 1. With the most stressful craft of my life completed, we've got our high quality black pearl ring. Grabbing 10 piety materia 3 off the market board, the ring is melded, and the goldsmith questline is finished. Congratulations, goldsmithing is finished. Now for Alchemist. Starting at level 32, we use horn glue for a leaf turn-in to hit 35. Hard leather, viscous secretions, cotton yarn, elm logs, and yew logs for an enchanted iron ink, and hard leather grimoire to make an engraved hard leather grimoire, meld in a materia, and complete the level 20 quest. Level 25 is Natron, which just needs effervescent water and rock salt. Why is this a stack of 34 for 29 million each? It costs a billion gil to buy this. It's 50 million gil in fees. With that quest finished, we massacre the Aldgoats in Eastern Thanalan to collect horns for horn glue and spam through leaves all the way to level 48. With the remaining quests, we should get more than enough experience to hit 50 without having to put in any real work. A weak blinding potion takes a bat fang and the quicksilver from our earlier poisoning attempts to complete the level 30 quest. 35 needs mandrakes and matron's mistletoe to craft a high ether and gives enough experience to reach level 50. 40 is a high potion of strength using blue Yarzon legs and gill buns. 45 needs mega potions of vitality, mind, and intelligence. I already have the materials to make a mind potion, but it ends up being normal quality, so we grab a strength potion and mind potion for cheap off the market board, grab a black scorpion, and somehow manage the intelligence potion. With all 3 potions done, there's 1 quest left. The final quest is a budding rosewood wand, and unlike the past 2, is cheap and easy to make. Quicksilver, blue landtrap leaf, and rock salt make a growth formula gamma, and adding in a rosewood branch and spoken blood makes our budding rosewood wand. 1 quick tongue materia 3 later, the quest ends and Alchemist is completed. Concluding the Alchemist quests for A Realm Reborn. One more thing to do. Saving the worst for last, our final crafting class before reaching our goal is Weaver. With the most complicated crafting recipes in the entire region, this one was going to be a bit rough. We're not even a high enough level to take the next quest yet, so we start off with a leaf grind. The easiest leaf to fulfill is hitting below the belt, which needs leather, cotton yarn, and undyed cotton cloth to make cotton breeches of crafting. The craft gets us to level 25, and the quest we unlocked needs undyed velvet. Velveteen. Velveteen uses diorite webs, which can only be obtained by killing diormites in the Black Shroud, so we grab some off the market board, make some dew thread, and combine it with cotton yarn for an undyed Velveteen. Quest complete, hitting below the belt carries us to level 30. With new options unlocked, we swap over to making a Velveteen robe. Undyed Velveteen and silver ingots make the robes, and the leaves take us from level 32 to 39. The next quest needs Velveteen gaiters, which is all the materials we used for the robes, plus a bit of rubber. With that, the level 30 quest is complete, and we've hit level 40. Level 35 needs a linen shirt. Flax and aldgoat leather off the market board, we make some linen yarn and undyed linen for a linen shirt, and quest completion. Once again, we've moved to a new material. For level 40, we need woolen tights. Fleece off the market board, we fail one of our crafts and decide to take the time to level up some more first. Crafting some lanolin with caracal skin, we make 2 linen smocks and turn them in to hit level 48. This time, the woolen yarn is made without issue. What? No, dude. Okay, I gave it back. That's fine. That was the only chance we had. 90%? Okay, thank you. Our woolen tights are as shiny as they can be, and the subtle inquiry quest is finished, getting our weaver to level 50. The next quest is the intervention, requiring a woolen beret, gaskins, and gown. Fleece, toad leather, apkalu down, and chocobo feathers purchased from random strangers around the world. The beret, gaskins, and gown are made, and we're on to the final quest, a miner reborn. No. You're gonna make me craft the patrician set? A level 50 craft requiring yet another new material, undyed felt. Effervescent water and rock salt make natron, then mashing it together with the snurble tufts we got at the burning wall and fleece from earlier gets us 1 undyed felt. Felt with some electrum ingots and undyed woolen cloth make the patrician's coatee. And the best part is we can use the patrician's coatee to increase our stats and make the next 2 crafts much easier. With 4 more crafts of undyed felt, the patrician's wedge cap and bottom are made. Ulda will never have to craft anything ever again. The quest is handed in, and another goal is complete. Now I could rest. Our mining, our goldsmithing, our weaving, and our alchemists are all above level 50, and they have all completed their level 50 quests. All of the hard work was done, and there was just 2 more things to do. Earn enough money to get an apartment, and reach level 70. Day after day, I logged in to see Ulda, ran through her daily roulette, and inched closer and closer to the end. And then, after dozens of duty roulettes, we stood at the end of the road. Just one more daily. Just one more daily, and it's done. Just one more. I had begun this challenge in October of 2023, and on May 2nd, 2024, I started up my stream and logged into Ulda for the last time. One final duty roulette, with my chat members beside me. Gladiator hits level 70, and we had overshot the 500,000 gil goal by a ridiculous amount, sitting pretty at 762,000 gil. Now there's just 2 more things to do. Unlocking Samurai, the level 50 job we left behind, and unlocking Reaper, the final job in Thanalan. Running over to the goblet, we head to the apartment and try to purchase a new home, but end up blocked by a Grand Company requirement. One last victory lap, we get the achievement for fully exploring the sunken temple of Qarn, and end things off with one last brass circlet leave. 290 tradecraft leaves completed, goldsmith at a clean level 70, and a final time of 2 days, 18 hours, and 29 minutes. Ulda's 8-month journey is finished, and she can finally rest. Thank you for choosing to be a part of this. Maybe this seemed like just some mundane story of a guy taking the long way to level his character, but to me it was always something more than that. There's a certain joy in doing something no one has ever done before, breaking away from what you're expected to do and trying something new. For as much as the grinds were tedious and drove me crazy some days, I'll always look back on this challenge with nothing but joy. This is the final few moments, going through all of our achievements, not a single exploration achievement outside of Thanalan. This story has reached its conclusion. Thank you again for being here, and maybe the next time you walk the streets of Ulda, you'll remember that crazy little lady who made it all the way to the end.